On Edge VTF here, T3 Live, and if it's Tuesday, it's the Wheels in Motion show, or lack thereof. But let's take a look. What do we got here? Basically, we're kind of waiting for earnings season here. You've got SPY doing nothing. Here you go. Your 1 minute track going to chop them up. But here, if you look at the monthly, we're slightly higher. And then if you go to the weekly, here's the issue. All right, so here's what's going on. So we got SPY doing this. It takes out the high, so it comes back through. So potential three or out or compound three, which means an outside bar down in here, unless we can re-break that. All right, so re-break last week's highs of 288.63. We're slightly below that now, and so what that happens to do on the daily is yesterday we had an outside day, which is a fractal broadening formation, which I'll show you in a second, and then we take this out. All right, so the question is, what's the next two? Which side do we take out? So do we take this out and then use this to try and go back to the highs tomorrow? Or do we take this out and come back through the old inside day? If you go to the 60, you're going to see this, broadening formation. So broadening formations get bigger and bigger and bigger. So the question is going to expand and try and come down, take some of this stuff out. We're going to rip back through here. So one of the things that's kind of easy to do is after the close, is go back through 30 minutes, 60 minutes, all that kind of stuff. And what you're going to see here is, okay, what do we do? It's like nothing. Gaps down, comes down through here, takes that out, comes back up, and then here, there's your up, inside, 60. Right back down into the lows and doesn't take out the highs. If you go to the 30-minute, you're going to see something like this. Wait for them to pop them up, take out the range, and then set up the reversal. The 2, 1, 2, inside 30, and down she goes. And so what that does is it sets up a smaller broadening formation, lower lows and higher highs, and there you go. You come off the top and you go through, you triangle them out, then they come back up. So anytime you take out those lows, you want to stay there, and didn't do it, so now it's potentially back through here. But in general, a whole bunch of nothing, but certainly watching the 60, how it plays out through here. If you go to QQQ, and QQQ a little different. QQQ is going to give us a better indication tomorrow because Qs stay inside day. Here, now you got the outside inside day. So either side of this is something we're going to want to know about. Albeit, if you look at the weekly, it's doing nothing, right? So it's either a re-break of last week's highs or potential to come down here and get worse, which would give us a little more volatility, but we're coming into earnings season and really, really, really want that. Dow Jones Diamonds. And the diamonds open still as an inside week. Haven't taken that out. So if you go to the daily, diamonds come down a la Boeing and stuff like that. So here's your 2 up, 2-2 reversal, 2-2 continuation. How much worse does that get on the 60? And you can see, look at this. Almost, what is this? Take that out. All of this today is like what we call a sideways inside day, really, is because here's the opening range. All of this, it spent the whole day inside of this range. If you go to the 30, you'll see this. The whole day in the opening 30-minute range. So we're going to want to get out of this thing and then stay out. But that's what I talk about with the low VIX nothingness, that we've really hunting down stocks and really hunting down anything that's moving that we can find. Small cappers, because the futures are not really the thing you want to be trading when the VIX is this low. But we want to go through it because, you know, eventually that won't be this way. Still inside month for the small cappers. And on the weekly, goes up into here and takes it out by 3 cents. So potentially outside bar to the downside here to try and take this out, unless you can turn this back green. And what that looks like is this. You might recall this. There's your broadening formation, your 2, boom, back through here. So small cappers having a little bit tougher of a time. And tomorrow would have a much easier time taking this low out and continuing lower. So we'll see how that goes. We've got a crude oil number coming out tomorrow. Inside day off the recent highs. We'll see how that goes because we had a couple energies trying last week or earlier this week, yesterday, but then come right back in. You can see stuff like Conoco. It tried to go up and then go shooter and 2-2 back down. So there's not too much to go through. If anything, there's more to the downside because we're starting to come back into last week's range. We do look at a couple weeklies here, a few weeklies, not a couple, but we'll look at a few. Centene CNC. Weekly, see that inside week to the upside. All right, and we'll just look for see if there's any more continuation, but these ranges are so beat on. So here's the kind of entry you'd look for here: 2 down, 2 down, 2 back up. All right, because you take out these lows and come back through previous range like so. Did it up here, 2 up, 2 down, hammer, boom. Because the magnitude is to come up and take these out. Because what happens is that that charting software is going to present data as it wants. And so people like to think that they're reading a chart. What you're really doing is analyzing statistical data, because we know outside bars exist, that range expansions exist. And so since we know that, when this comes back through this previous range, if this was a 45-minute chart, this would be an outside bar of all this. On this, on a 30-minute chart, depending on when it updates, this and that are outside of these two. Right? So you want to be able to read statistical data. Looking at charts, one of the big problems people have is they just look at them, just a daily and say, oh, it's a wedge, it's a this, it's this. And there's so many different ways that data can be presented to you that's very rudimentary. So you want to be able to do this so you know what you're looking at. If you go to TMUS, TMUS is doing this, inside week to the upside. Now you're still completely within this mother bar here, right? So you'd want to get out of there, but you do have that, and you can see here it goes 3 outside bar to the upside and just kind of walking up, and you can just keep going to your 60s. Looks like it spent a whole day in there. That's great, but it is inside week and up. Because the other problem here is the things that are going up are at exhaustion risk, which means that they're going into new highs. PayPal drifting into the highs, Apple into recent highs, and now Shooter to try and counter that. But on the weekly, it takes out the high and is still above last week's highs. Procter & Gamble in the Dow, slightly just going into new highs. And then for tomorrow, you got an inside day, and you can watch that with XLP, which I believe goes inside day. And you can watch the Dow Jones with that too, because it's in there too. Okta, this was nice. The 132 continuation rev strat. So when you have an inside bar, it goes down, comes back through. That's reversing the equilibrium, which it did. Then you have the fractal broadening formation of this, the expansion of that Okta. The problem is going into new highs. If you go to the monthly, you would be watching that daily setup, right? Because of this. 2 up, 2 down, and then pow. Now the problem with this is the magnitude is just taking these guys out, which you did. So now you're at exhaustion risk going into new highs, but we can look for continuation patterns to keep it going. With an energy number coming out tomorrow, WLL, albeit still in 4 months in here, it's 2 up, 2 down, 2 up on the month. In the weekly, slightly higher than last week, so maybe something there. In the daily, we'll watch that oil number. Here's the chance for the 2, the 2, and then the 2 continuation. So if they start coming after this, you can also look at EOG, potentially doing the same, the 2 up, the corrective activity, and then back in the direction of full time frame continuity, because at this point, EOG would be rev strat here, inside countered with hammer, and then back up. So we'll see how that goes. TW, new issue. And just keeps trying to make new highs. So nothing too interesting there. It's just above last week's highs. If we go to RH, here you can go. Broadening formation, triangle them out, and they're gone. Stop out there. Like when people say, this is support. Is it traded below then? And if that was support and it traded below then, why would it come back? It wouldn't. If that was a thing, it's not. What is a thing is 2 reversal on the weekly, and here it comes. So what we'll be looking for in here is to try and see if we could at least take this out and get into the gap, and then it would have to stay there. If we go to NTAP inside day, and it's going into recent highs, but it has been higher up into here and still climbing the wall of worry, and you got an inside day above last week's highs with the Qs. You can watch that with the Qs. Cigna in the healthcare, and Cigna in the healthcare does this. Okay, so weaken up here, and so that's 3-2 outside week to the upside. To try and take out this stuff up into here, and you can see a triangle be like this, and you can watch this with the other health cares, obviously your UNHs, your Humanas, and all that kind of stuff. So we can keep an eye on that and see how that goes, because you have XLV going inside on the day, doing nothing in general inside month and weaker, but we'll see if anything comes of that, because in the Dow you got Johnny John trying to come off the lows of this broadening formation, but we'll see. Johnny John is red on the month though. It would just be trying to get back into this week like so. It's 3 week and you're back into there. Go to CCI, the towers. This thing's been a powerhouse, just doesn't stop. And that's a weekly momentum hammer. You can see this daily just grinding, but this thing doesn't give it up. So you can also watch that with SBAC. All right, CCI and SBAC and the towers in America Tower. SWKS. Now, we had some weakness in some semis early today, but SWKS is an inside day and still slightly above last week's highs. So we'll see if we can get the SMH. And SMH does this here. So now it takes out yesterday's low. So now what's the next two? Does it try and expand through here? Does it take this out and come back in the highs? We can watch that with the Qs. You can see how bad this range is. It's just ridiculously bad. So I'm just going to be careful on a lot of things. On the downside, a lot more happening over there so far for the week. TWOU. And here's one of the things we look for, the two shooter that comes back into an outside bar, because we know that's a triangle on a shorter term basis, like so. And here, so the magnitude, once it took this out, like so, was to come and take this out, which it did, right? And so even if I draw the triangle, it doesn't go right there. It's to take this out, because this, and this are an outside bar of all this, all right? If it was a different time frame, and that's how you put the data through your head. And so we can see that because we got an outside bar, boom, it takes that out, and it already did it. Now, to keep it going, you got a big Mulder bar here, but we can see if we can take this inside month to the downside and get to that expand. Otherwise, a 2-2 back up, and you go right ripping back through the try. American Express, not too exciting here either. Not doing much and waiting on a bunch of earnings, but it is trying to go 2-2 weaker down if they start hitting some financials and stuff. A little bit closer here is IBB, and still inside week and still tight range and inside the month and all that kind of jazz, but daily did go inside day to the downside after slight higher high here. And so we do have this potential try here if they want to start hitting this stuff, which would be fun. And if we go to the weeklies, you've got Regeneron doing this, the 2 down, 2 up, and then 2 back down on the weekly. You've got AERI doing that as well. 2 down, 2 up, 2 back down. You've got ALNY as well. 3-2-2 with a little bit bigger try if we can come back through this thing. Would be nice. And here you can draw it like so. Off of here. Oops, let's blow this up a little bit more. So you can see this, and it's putting in a higher series walking up. You see this? Trying to get these guys out. Take all these guys out and back up. Now it's trying to do it again. We'll see if it's going to be weak enough to come through here. You can watch for continuation patterns on that. Blue. And blue on the day or the week. Here. 2 up right outside of the range. And now see if we can get this thing ripping back through here. You see? Which would be nice. You drop back here below 155.51. Gets my attention here because then we can come ripping back through here, which would be very nice. Potentially, you got Grace Chem GRA here doing the same. The 2-2-2. So we look for continuation patterns down on that here, and you can see how you can continually, when you look for these patterns, you know that on a shorter term time frame, you're going to see something like this. If we go to Sina SYNA, and this was quite the winner here. This is the Rev Strat, inside day, boom, hammer. And then when the magnitude keeps going, to take this out, because this and these are an outside bar of that. But now you go this and start coming back in, and this becomes the potential outside bar of this if they really get medieval on her. So if you're the weekly, you're going to see this. There's the 2 up and the 2 down, and still back below that. Sina SYNA. And the trannies, Southwest Air slightly trying to come back in here, and you can watch that with the rest of the airlines. JetBlue doing similar like that, trying to take it out. So we'll see if anything comes out as United Airlines. These guys anywhere near that? No, you got inside ones for the other guys. So we'll see. That's selective there. If you also stay in the trannies, you have Union Pacific going shooter down back into the range there. And so here, if we can get this thing going, right, you can see how they take them out. You got your lower lows. You got your higher high. And you come back through like that would be nice, or even like this. Remember, all we're trying to do is identify an outside bar, right, by drawing these things, because we know that that phenomenon exists. And then this drops back through, and we'll see how that goes. We can watch that with the trannies and the other rails. John Deere on the daily. Here's your broadening formation, boom, 2, and then continuation through here. And what that does, in the longer term, there you go. This is a Rev Strat weaker. the inside, the 2, and then back down through. And here's your old triangle here as an outside bar. So we'd want to go down and take this out if they can really start hitting it. In the REITs, you've got OIH going inside week to the downside, and you can watch that with to V and Q and whatnot. HFC and the energy is trying to go the other way, taking out last week's low, so it's just a 2 continuation, but also potentially taking out last month's lows. And you can see this, all 3 of these months were inside of this month. So once you get below that, that's an inside bar break on a 3-month basis, right? And then you'd want to see if you can use that to take that out. You can watch that with the other refiners, and we got an oil number tomorrow to see what goes on there. If we go to Roku right here, 222 month down below 59.63. You're there right now on the weekly. 322. It takes care of business because remember the magnitude is to take out the 3 and take out this 3 as well, which it has done. So it's a matter of staying down and coming in tomorrow. It looks like this. Now, can we expand this thing by going 2 down, 2 up, and then shooter counters, hammer, and come back through this stuff? It looks like we're going to find out. Weakness in steel, letter X, puke. And there you go. There's your 2 down, 2 up, and boom, towards the lows. And monthly, hopefully you can take this out. RevStrat month continuation. STLD, I believe, doing some more puking over there too. That's still inside month, but you do have that 2 down, 2 up, weaker. And you can watch the rest of the steels with that. GBX. And GBX going into the lows. But you can see this weekly, this is the pattern we look for. The down, the up, and boom, the triangle out. And let's see how that's 60. Look, you got them good up here. All right, we'll see. And then you come up here, and you go 60 down and try and take that down. You got Bristol Myers having some problems here, too. Bristol Myers going outside month 3-2 to the downside here. And on the weekly, you're just taking them out. So the best thing for Bristol Myers is that you've taken this out. All right, if it wants to try and move higher. Otherwise, this is an old fractal try. You took it out up here. We're going to come down. You can take these guys out. Boeing. There's your 2 up, 2 down reversal on the weekly. And the big problem for Boeing is if it takes out the monthly, and that would be 3-2 down. But that's got a little ways. But stranger things have happened. As you go to the daily, you're going to see this here. Take care of them and them. There's your daily broadening formation, Boeing. Texas Roadhouse. Texas Roadhouse inside to the downside, daily, and if you go to the weekly, that's trying to trigger the 2 up, 2 back down. Still would be inside month. W. And W weekly, trying to take this out more importantly on the monthly. There's your monthly reversal, your 2 up, your 2 down. Below 148.20, and then you just wait for it to pop back up on the daily, and there you go, inside day and back through the range. Boom. CGC, not too exciting, but it is slightly inside, weak and down. FEYE, we saw some strength in some of the cyber stuff, but not here. And so there's FEYE taking out last week, so there's tight range and stuff in here, so just be aware of that. But most importantly, from some of the stuff I tell you here tonight, that you can learn to see it for yourself. Whether these are, you're going to take these setups or not, you're going to see this in everything. And so once again, you're going to see the RevStrat FEYE daily. Inside bar, 2, boom. Took them all out in one shot. XLRN. XLRN, there's your 3-2, outside day range expansion. Your monthly, took it out. You took out the highs, and so potential outside month, right? That's something we'd want to know about because it's going to trigger by going this. The 2 down, the 2 up, the 2 back down weekly as the triangles expand. Travelers in the Dow, slightly 2-2 weaker down and potential 3-monther here. And so we can look around there and we can see all states trying to get out of that range and then back through it. So Allstate for the rest of the week is going to get my attention because it's 122 RevStrat below 94.45. It's there right now. EAT, and that's just inside weak and down, not doing too much, but we'll see if it's going to be weak enough to take this out. The 222 month are below 42.11. Tight triangle business in this though on the daily, real tight, slight higher highs. And Clorox. Clorox goes inside day, and we can watch that with XLP. On the weekly, gap's down a little bit, but what it does do on that gap is take the 2-2 month downer. So you can watch that with the XLP inside day and all that kind of stuff. RL. And RL on the month, still inside, but red. And there you go. Inside weak to the downside. So we'll see. It starts coming down through all these guys, and you can see if you're always looking at higher highs, lower lows, like that. And this might even be a lower low. There you go. And SMTC. SMTC doing this. Still inside month, but potential break of that. And here's what you want right on the weekly. Stop them out, hit them. All right, so here, Cementech below 51.62. And we'll stay on that. So, like I said, the VIX is low. We've got some tight triangles going back and forth every day. And so you just keep looking for these reversals back and forth, and how those combinations line up. So, not too exciting, but hopefully when you're tuning in, this is showing you what to look for on multiple time frame analysis, whatever you're looking at, whatever you're trading. And yeah, that should help, because a lot of people get pretty confused looking at one time frame, only the daily. All right, that's going to do it for this week. I'm Rob Smith in the Black Quant VTF here, T3 Live with the Wheels in Motion shoe.